It's Arkansas Roots here on KASU. I'm Marty Scarborough, and today we're kicking off a brand new feature on the program, something that, to be honest, I've been wanting to do since day one, and that's bringing in people from the community who have expertise about Arkansas music of the past to talk about, well, what else but Arkansas music. And today I'm joined by Michael Hancock, and we're kicking off the very first segment of what we're calling Arkansas Music Memories. So, Michael, welcome to KASU and to Arkansas Roots.
Thank you.
Let's start off by telling our listeners a little bit about yourself. Did you grow up here in Northeast Arkansas?
Yes, I grew up in Hoxie, Arkansas.
Okay. And lived here all of your life?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I've lived here.
And musician yourself?
Yes, I play guitar and banjo and little steel guitar.
I'm guessing with the combination of guitar, banjo, and steel, mainly country music? Or?
Yes, that's my main love is country music and some rockabilly music.
Well, I guess the next question is, how did you start collecting all of these old recordings that you have in your personal collection of musicians from the past, from our corner of Arkansas?
Well, it really started when I met Ken Burge.
Okay.
He was a dobro player and a steel guitar player. And he had one of most of these recordings because he recorded on Cottontown Jubilee, the record label in West Memphis, Arkansas. And so he would play me these songs when we would get together and play music. And so when he passed away, I was able to get these recordings. And it just got me thinking that, I really want to try to get all these I can to preserve them,
Well, here at Arkansas Roots, quite often we play music from Alley Records, and I'm sure you'll probably bring in some recordings from Alley. But what people may not realize is that there were dozens of small mom-and-pop record labels throughout the state of Arkansas back in the 1950s and 60s and into the 70s.
That's right. There were numerous. There was the United Southern Artists label in Hot Springs, and of course Cottontown Jubilee and West Memphis, and there was even one in Walnut Ridge. Love Lady Records, I believe was the name of it.
Okay.
And yeah, there were numerous independent labels here in Arkansas.
And so over the course of this new feature that we're going to be doing here on Arkansas Roots, you're going to be bringing in some of those rare recordings and sharing them with our listeners.
That's right. I have many, and I'll be my pleasure to bring them in.
Well, let's start out with this very first one. What's the first thing that you'd like to share with us today?
Well, it's Cotton Patch Hop by Sonny Williams. And this was recorded in 1962 on Cottontown Jubilee. And he was one of the stars on the Gene Williams Show, which came out in around 1963. This was before. And
now let's explain what the Gene Williams Show was. That was a television program.
Yes, it was the first country music television program in Arkansas, I believe, or in this part of Arkansas. It was on channel KIT here in Jonesboro, and it ran for 15 years. And he was one of the first big stars on it. And he was the first, I believe he was the first star to record for this label, Cottontown Jubilee. I think he made the first record.
Okay. And then Sonny Williams himself. What can you tell us about him?
I don't have a lot of information on Sonny Williams, but he recorded numerous tracks. And he has like a Hank Williams, he almost sounds like Hank Williams or Hank Snow. He was real country, And but on the session, I do know that Alton Yancey is playing guitar, and Bill Medlock is playing bass, and I think Sylvia Mobley, who was also a independent recording star here, is doing some of the background vocals on this.
Okay, well, let's take a listen to this. Here's Sonny Williams with the Cotton Patch Hop.
Way down south where they say you all the folks turn out to do the cotton patch ball. It's down the road about a country mile. You'll see a bush arbor built of country style. Little spread and still broad daylight at the cotton patch hop on a moonlit night. They feed the chickens, get the milking done, then they hit for the harbor where they'll have some fun. Now the crowd starts together when the sun goes down. The music starts to play into a solid sound. Somebody fires up an old kerosene light at the cotton patch hop on a moonlit night. solid sound. Somebody fires a balloon kerosene light at the cotton patch hop on a moonlit night. In the calico dresses and their old blue jeans come the country cowboys with their cotton patch queens to do a little square dance to a rock and roll. It looks kind of wild, but honey, I've been told they worked all week, so I guess it's alright at the cotton patch hop on a moonlit night. And their old blue jeans come the country cowboys with their cotton patch queens to do a little square dance to a rock and roll. It looks kind of wild, but honey, I've been told they worked all week, so I guess it's alright at the cotton patch hop on a moonlit night.
The Cotton Patch Hops, Sonny Williams, here in our new feature on Arkansas Roots called Arkansas Music Memories. And bringing in these recordings and telling me about them is Michael Hancock. And you were telling me that Sonny Williams and this particular label got some press in probably the, people call it the Bible of the music industry in Billboard magazine.
That's right. When Cottontown Jubilee first started, he was their first artist. And Billboard, they introduced him by saying he was the greatest thing since Hank Williams. And he recorded 2 Hank Williams songs, If You'll Be My Baby and Teardrop on a Rose. And those were 2 Hank Williams songs. So.
And some of the kind of more obscure Hank Williams songs.
Yeah, and he was I've talked to different people that knew him, and he was, they said he could really sound a lot like Hank Williams. Of course, here to me sounds a lot like Hank Snow, but,
Well, you're going to be bringing in some recordings by, regional artists who, made some great music, but often didn't get recognition beyond just Arkansas or our region. But this next artist that you've brought in to share one of their rare recordings with us is a group of brothers who were nationally known, toured throughout the country, had lots of top 40 country hits.
That's right. It's the Wilburn Brothers, and of course they're from Hardy, Arkansas. But they started when they were just kids. Rory Acuff actually discovered them, and I think in 1940 they were on the Grand Ole Opry.
Do you know the story about how they got off the Grand Ole Opry?
Yeah, because they were so young that child labor laws they couldn't stay. And then they had their own radio show here in Arkansas and I think in Missouri, and then they went to Shreveport in the late 40s and was on the Louisiana Hayride.
And eventually had their own television program.
That's right, Wilburn Brothers Show.
And, of course, known for the fact that they kind of discovered and helped nurture the career of another young female country singer, Loretta Lynn.
That's right, yeah. They were very instrumental in her success, for sure.
Well, what can you tell about this particular recording that you brought in for us today by the Wilburn Brothers?
Well, it wasn't, I don't think it was a very, big hit for them, but I thought it was unusual because it's a recording from the Grand Ole Opry at the Ryman Auditorium. This is 1964, I believe. And it's from the album A Saturday Night at the Grand Ole Opry. And T. Tommy Cottrell is the MC of this particular show.
So this was actually a live radio broadcast at one time that was just simply put out and issued on a record.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, well, let's take a listen. The Wilburn Brothers, and you'll hear the Grand Ole Opry announcer right prior to this particular track, the song called Which One Will It Be?
Here are a couple of young'uns that have been good country singers since they were little bitty fellas, like 10 or 12 years old. They do some great country harmony, too. This tune is Which One Will It Be? Here are Teddy and Doyle, the Wilburn Brothers.
Which one? Which one? Which one will it be? Now that we're here together, what do you plan to do? We're in a love's triangle, the two of us and you. Yesterday you loved me, today you say it's me. Tomorrow just leaves half for me. Your love can't be divided. Which one will it be? Which one will it be? Which one will it be to step up to happiness? Which one will it be to step down to loneliness? Half the time you love me, that just leaves half for me. Your love can't be divided. Which one will it be? Which one will it be?
The Wilburn Brothers, and Which One Will It Be? We're listening to these vintage recordings here in this segment called Arkansas Music Memories with Michael Hancock. Some great stuff there, as you said, recorded live at the Grand Ole Opry.
That's right.
So what's this next recording that you've got to share with us?
Well, this is another live recording. It's on the Slim Rhodes show, and it is John Huey on steel guitar. And John Huey started out, actually, I think he started out with Conway Twitty, and then when Conway Twitty went to rock and roll, he went with Slim Rhodes.
Okay, let's back up and tell our listeners a little bit about who Slim Rhodes was. They may not be familiar with that name.
Well, Slim Rhodes was a country music singer and very popular around Arkansas and Memphis, in that area. He came from, he was born in Poughkeepsie, Arkansas, I believe.
Okay.
And he in the late 30s, he was on radio in Memphis, I believe. And
Then later had his own...
he had his own television show. On KATV and then on KEIT here in Jonesboro.
And this John Huey, is this an instrumental track featuring him on steel
It's
guitar?
an instrumental track of an old song. There's words to it that people have recorded too, but it's just an instrumental.
And again, was this from a TV broadcast, from an LP? Where did you get this particular recording?
Well, this is from another LP which they only did like 3 or 4 LPs on this Cottontown Jubilee label. But this is from LP in 1966, I believe it was released, which wasn't long before Slim passed away.
Okay. Well, take a listen to this one. You'll hear Slim Rhodes introducing John Huey, and I Don't Love Nobody.
And now, neighbors, on with the road show here with our steel guitar player, John Huey, playing I Don't Love Nobody But You.
John Huey recorded on the Slim Rhodes show, and I Don't Love Nobody. And I was talking with someone just the other day, the steel guitar is a challenging instrument to play. And you know that as a steel guitar player yourself.
Right. Well, I'm learning to play the non-pedal steel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the pedal steel guitar is very hard to play. There's pedals and knee levers and foot pedals and all kinds of things.
I'm visiting with Michael Hancock on this new feature here on Arkansas Roots we're calling Arkansas Music Memories. And you've got one more song to share with us today, and this is a classic blues song from the early 1960s.
Yeah, it's Kenny Owens doing Big Boss Man. Mm-hmm. And this was from his album. It was released in 1969 called Kenny Owens and the Travelers, I think, is what it's called. But Larry Don Gillihan is playing organ on this.
Okay. So who was Kenny Owens? What are his Arkansas connections?
Well, Kenny Owens was a pretty big star around Arkansas in the 60s, and he started out doing rock and roll. His first single was called "I Got the Bug," and it was in 1957. And the flip side of that was "High School Sweater." It was typical rockabilly stuff. Mm-hmm. But in the early 60s, he was a pretty big country star. He was on the Gene Williams Show when it first started. He even had his own TV show on Channel 8 for a period of time.
And like I said, this is, as often country musicians would pull songs from the blues and do their own unique versions of them. And I assume that's what we're going to hear with this particular track.
Oh, definitely. And I'm sure this is a song he did many times. You can tell he's having a lot of fun with this one.
All right. Here's Kenny Owens and Big Boss Man.
All right, do your thing. Big boss man, can't you hear me when I call? All right. Yeah, big boss man, can't you hear me when I call? Oh, hear me call. Well, you ain't so big, you're just tall, and that's all. You got me a working boss man, working on the farm. I want a cool drink of water, but you won't give me none, big boss man. Can't you hear me when I call? All right. Well, you ain't so big, you're just tall, and that's all. Wow! All right. Get it! Find myself a boss man, one gonna treat me right. I work hard in the daytime, raise hell at night. Big boss man, help me. Can't you hear me when I call? Hear me call. Well, you ain't so big, you're just tall, that's all. Well, you ain't so big, you're just tall, and that's all.
Kenny Owens with Big Boss Man. And Michael, you're certainly right. It certainly sounded like he was having a lot of fun on that particular recording. Anything else that you want to add about Kenny Owens or, his kind of musical legacy?
Well, I think he's a very underrated singer. Mm-hmm. I think he could have been a very big star because he did some very good recordings. And I just think he should be remembered because I do think he had the talent to have gone beyond Arkansas,
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what we're wanting to do is to remember these wonderful artists that, some people may be unfamiliar with. You never knew that these great musicians came out of Arkansas in the 50s, 60s, and 1970s. And Michael, we appreciate you coming in and sharing these with us here on these new features, Arkansas Music Memories.
Well, it was my pleasure. Thank you.
Look forward to doing this again this time next week.
Me too.